had some trouble drinking.
Oh. Well, if you want to tell, tell. No. If it's not dangerous for you, you tell.
I probably would have gone to the war, but I ended up got in trouble drinking, and they sent me into a program, so I stopped drinking for most of the time into the military, and that was in 1990, and then I started back up in 1997, and I was under kind of a lot of stress with I'd been married a couple times, and I ended up going back to drinking, and I lost my career in the military.
Got it. You said that you married a couple times?
Yes.
Why you don't tell those stories? Story, we need story.
I think it's kind of common for a lot of guys in the military. They you're away from home, you get lonely, and you meet a girl in town, and it's easy to get married in the military because they can give you a house, and you have enough money to provide for your family, and so then you get married kind of fast, and maybe you don't pick the right girl. So maybe a lot of guys, when they go away, the girls get lonely and stuff, so it's a kind of a problem in the military. There's a lot of divorces in the United States military.
That's the reason that divorce? What's the reason they divorce so usually? Even in this society is so common. Even in America it's so common. Why it's so much? Well, what's the reason that in America the people divorce easily?
I think, you know, a lot of times it has to do with maybe you didn't get married for the right reasons at the beginning, and you didn't spend enough time getting to know your wife or your spouse to see if you had a lot in common or she had a good character. And then I think a lot of times it's infidelity, so one person cheats on the other.
Then this is the reason to divorce.
Yes. And I think also financial pressure too. A lot of times, you know, people, our culture's kind of materialistic right now, so people want things that their friends might have. So then you have to either work really hard, or if you're an honest guy, sometimes it's hard because other people are making their money not honest, so they have a lot of things, but you don't have a lot of things. So
yeah, you mean that because of economic problems, the man divorced his wife? She is not working?
I'd say a lot of times the wife maybe gets mad because, oh, you should have more money. So I think a lot of guys feel a lot of pressure and burden that they don't have, that there's always some guy that's got more money than them.
You mean the lady? The lady pressure to the man?
Yes.
That you don't have money and other people have too much money?
Yes.
Then the man divorced the lady?
Or the lady divorces the man, gets another boyfriend or something like that.
Ah, boyfriend. I see. Even the husband, when he saw she's with a boyfriend, then divorced, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Or sometimes maybe the man gets into a fight with his wife or hangs out with his friends, and you know, a lot of times it's the guy's fault too, where he's making too much money and he's going out and having a girlfriend. I have to go work, I have to go do business and go out and drink and stuff, so I think that for a lot of people, you know, drinking and business it causes a lot of problems where they're not spending time with their family. Drinking, or people say, oh, well, I have to go spend time with my clients. So they go out to a bar, and when they should be home with their friends, like maybe trying to network. People do a lot of dinner, drinking, go to the bar, and talk to people for business and stuff. But then it ends up being too much of a party and not business anymore.
But I didn't go that detail. Could you repeat it? They go to bar for speaking about business?
Yes.
Then what?
Then they have too many drinks and they don't go home soon enough. After the military, I got out and stayed in Kentucky. I stayed in a small town and worked in a factory for 2 years, working in a steel mill. And I had a wife and a stepdaughter, and then we ended up having some problems with alcohol and drugs, and so she had a drug problem, so I had to get a divorce, and I came back home and started a new life here in Los Angeles about the time when 9/11 happened. So I went to school for 2 years, and that's when I first made my first Muslim friends in college. I'd say probably going to Sunday school, we talked about different religions, so I never really heard too much about Islam, except my mother said, you know, Islam's a religion that was spread by the sword, and kind of people became Muslim because they had a choice, either convert or die. But besides that, I had a pretty neutral, I didn't dislike Islam, or I didn't know any Muslims. I just saw, growing up, a lot of the stuff on TV about the problems in the Middle East, and some in the 1980s when I was a kid, it was pretty much the United States was having trouble with Shiite extremists. So that's my first real kind of education of Islam, but I didn't let that make me prejudiced. And then during my time in the military, I met a couple Muslim people, and so I still had a positive experience. And what I'd always heard was that, like, when Osama bin Laden came around, he was an extremist, and so I remember I was in college during 9/11, and I kind of worried about some of my Muslim friends, so I ended up telling them if they ever were scared or if anybody gave them a hard time, just they could come talk to me. So I built a good relationship with some Muslim people, and they told me, you know, a lot of the problems in the United States is a bad, kind of the media distorts Islam. And this one guy from Saudi Arabia told me that in Saudi Arabia it's a crime to curse God and to curse Jesus Christ. And he said, I hear a lot of Christians use bad language towards their own God and towards Jesus. And I thought about that, and I didn't know that, you know, even Jesus was a highly regarded prophet. So that was a really one of my first things where I started looking into Islam. I had bought a Quran and I read it a few times, and I'd say I've been baptized a couple times in different churches, so I looked around at different religions, but I had like I said, some problems with drinking and drugs over the years, and I'd always tried to do the right thing, but I get involved with the wrong people, or when I was doing the right thing, I'd be kind of depressed. So I started looking into Islam, and I talked to a couple people, and they gave me another Quran, and I actually came down to this masjid 2 years ago, and a guy talked to me about Islam, said, you know, if I become a Muslim, I'll have a very strong faith. And I looked at my life and where I wanted to go, and Islam seemed to have a lot of the answers that I was looking for. Well, I was going to talk to my family, and first I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and she said she couldn't marry or go out with a Muslim, so I ended up converting without telling her. So I just felt like I had to, in my heart, I had to convert to Islam, or I was gonna go further down the wrong path. And